It was always my dream to be a nurse. England was seen as the mother country, and there were opportunities there in England, more so than here in Barbados, to do nursing. And so when I was 19 years old, I left Barbados for England to train as a nurse. I think my parents were the ones who found out about it and encouraged me to enroll. My parents obviously were the instigators of getting everything ready, and I think the government played a large part in sorting out your paperwork and any other preparations that you needed.
So what was your first thoughts about coming to England?
I was terrified, but full of hope for the future. Having never left home and left my parents, it was a very scary experience. I can remember not wanting to leave my mother, but it was something that really and truly you had to do in order to make a future.
And what were your plans? Were you expecting to stay in England for a long time?
No, my plans were to go there and study nursing and get back to Barbados as fast as I could.
And what were your ideas about England before you arrived?
We were always told the streets were paved with gold. And in some ways, being very naive, we believed that. The streets certainly weren't paved with gold. It was just a huge place.
So what happened when you were met at the airport and then where you went to train? How did that all come about?
It was all organized. So we were met at the airport by a delegation from the hospital that we were going to train at. Where I went, the first hospital I went to, it really didn't work out because within months of being there, they gave us another test, and my friend and I, we were told that we were unsuccessful in the test and that we couldn't study to be nurses, but we could work as nursing auxiliaries. So that in itself was upsetting. But we contacted the Barbados embassy in England, and they sorted out for us to go to another hospital.
Okay, so where was that?
We eventually ended up in Winchester in Hampshire. That was a friendlier place because there were a lot of Caribbean and black nurses there. Obviously, we felt more at home. Then you started to feel as though you belonged, and you started to talk to people who were on the same journey. Some people had finished studying and moving on, and more of a friendly place. We were basically used as what they call bedside nurses. We were practical nurses, and so we were the ones that were responsible for people who were in lots of ways really very ill and needed just basic nursing care, that couldn't do anything for themselves. And it was hard work, especially when you had to lift people, and of course, the sisters had set high standards, and so you had to meet those standards. So it wasn't easy, but it was very satisfying, and working alongside other people of the same skin color, and we had lots of fun. We used to laugh a lot, even though the work was hard. There was always something to laugh about. And so that, I think that made a huge difference in that we could laugh through, in a way, a lot of our pain.
Did you remember feeling homesick at all?
Yeah, I remember feeling very homesick. We just had a good cry and then got on with it.
So tell us about after you finished training, where was your first job?
My first job after I finished training was in the same hospital that I trained in. Yeah, it was a small hospital just for caring for elderly patients. We had it was a very small hospital.
So did you suffer any discrimination, any racism from the staff or the patients?
Yeah, you had things said to you that weren't very nice. Things like "get back to the jungle," "take your black hands off me." Things like that were said to you. To be quite honest, I didn't let things like that bother me because I had never faced anything like that outside of Barbados anyway. So I did not even know at the time that it was discrimination.
Okay, and tell us a bit more about your career and how it developed over the years and why you didn't go back to Barbados as planned.
My career just involved moving around from hospital to hospital. You just continue training, basically. You just continue looking for things that interest you. So I went to an orthopedic hospital because at the time that was an interest of mine. And just working as a enrolled nurse, gaining experience, and eventually I had a family, and then Barbados was coming back to Barbados was a far off dream because I had other things then to worry about.
And give us a little bit of an idea of what the atmosphere was like in England in the 70s and 80s and bringing up children.
It was difficult trying to work and care for two small children, but with support from friends, no family nearby, just managed to get by.
Do you have any regrets in going to England and training?
I have absolutely no regrets whatsoever. I consider England to be, I say, a university of life, and I have no regrets.
And in terms of the NHS, what difference do you think having Black Caribbean nurses made, especially in terms of, the staff and the fact that there was a shortage at the time when you guys went over to train?
I think Black Caribbean nurses made a huge difference to the NHS. I hope I did make a difference to somebody's life, and I can honestly say that I, especially coming on to the latter part of my career, I can honestly say that I enjoyed every single minute of it, and I wouldn't change anything for the world.